Hello and welcome to the Cryptonaut podcast. My name is Mark Storrs. Hanging out with me, as always,
Rob Morphy.
Robert Morphy, thank you so much. And back from part 2, Dark Forces. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We found him, the one and only
Crims.
Oh, dude. I'm not going to lie, man. I got a little bit nervous because I picked him up and then I was thinking about the whole doppelganger thing. I'm like, I got to look in his eyes. I got to look in his eyes.
Yeah. Because he was stuck in the miasma.
He was, dude.
As we mentioned.
No, I really was.
I looked in the eyes in his apartment, just two men staring down at each other.
Yep.
And it was our Chris.
You saw the truth.
I saw the truth. Yes.
Fantastic.
And his excellent pop collection that he has on these cool risers. And I was like, are we good? He's like, we're good. I'm like, okay.
It's on.
Let's do this. We're here this week, Stardust Ranch Part 4. Oh, we're going deep.
Yeah, we are.
Deep. Now, this is interesting here because this is a little bit of my heart you're going to try to steal right here. Aliens and AK-47s.
That is the title.
Oh, man. All right, man. Without further ado, let's get started with alien abductions, animal mutilations, and anomalous entity attacks on the rise. John Edmonds goes public with his story, incurring the wrath of would-be assassins, the notorious men in black, and violent grays. But just when things were at their darkest, John would find it within himself to fight back against the malevolent monstrosities arrayed against him in order to save the woman he loves.
That's right, folks. It's a love story.
Dude, we got aliens, AK-47s, and love will bloom.
Love will bloom. Love will save the day.
What I'm pretty excited.
Dude, love will find a way. As per Tesla.
We're not quite sure how many parts this is going to be. Rob is saying it might be Mothman.
It might be. It might be Sixer.
It could be, but it also could be a Fiver.
It could be a Fiver.
I almost think if we do Sixer, we might have to milk the teats of a Sevener.
No, we never milk.
No, not milk, but just an appendix.
I'll tell you.
Is that a thing, an appendies? Right?
Well, I mean, we are going to need to thoroughly break this down.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
A denouement.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Gestalt.
I think there's two. Okay. God bless you guys.
The ongoing saga of the 300th episode.
I think we can very easily and righteously get 2 more episodes out of this.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
I do not think 3 is probably in the works.
Okay,
But then
so-
again, I say shit like that all the time, and then I stumble across something new, and I'm like, oh, holy shit.
So you're saying it's going to be like Mothman level. It's not going to surpass Mothman. It's going to be right at Mothman as a 6-parter.
Bearing in mind that when we started this, I said 3.
I called it as a 7.
The funny thing is, you did.
Okay.
I write outlines for things like this. Like when we're doing like a normal story, like a one and done, like a crazy ass incident, like, talking, telepathic rugby balls or whatever. I just wing it. I just have a good time, tell the story.
Right.
Yeah.
With things like Mothman or Varginha or whatever, I always make a breakdown, and I laugh at myself when I do episode breakdowns. I'm like, paragraph 1 is, the intro, and then I'm going to, write about this, this, and this. And invariably, I think I'm going to talk about 3 things in a paragraph when I end up talking about 1 thing for 3 paragraphs.
Yeah.
And then because I can't shortchange a story. I'm not milking it, but there's just so much glory that it needs to be, shown, and all of the, expertise we have in our microscopic view needs to, just be blasted out there for everybody.
Yeah.
So that having been said, I'm predicting 2 more, but who the fuck knows?
All right, man. Well, you know what? Let's jump into part 4 here, and we'll just see where this is. The summer of fucking Stardust Ranch, dog. We're going to end the summer with Stardust Ranch.
Yes.
It's going to bring us to 9/11.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I guess now it has to be 7.
I mean, September 11th is around the corner. Only reason I know that is because it's a Bills and Jets game, and we're not recording on Mondays. We're recording on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Quite possibly for that reason.
Yeah, no, that's what it's known for, football.
Listen, you son of a bitch. Never forget.
Yeah.
Wow, Rob got disgusted with me. He's like, yeah.
It's not so much like stunned.
Okay, fine.
I'm surprised
Fine.
still.
All right, we're back. We're doing it, Robert.
So we're back on Stardust for the 4th time.
Okay,
Aliens and AKs.
let's do it.
Since June 1st, 1996, the day they moved into the isolated 10-acre Rainbow Valley property known as Stardust Ranch, John and Joyce Edmonds had been thrust into a swirling supernatural storm from which there seemed to be no escape. Beginning with a mysterious machete-wielding monster hunter and pernicious poltergeist-like pranks, the terror quickly escalated to include brutal and inscrutable animal slaughter, The arrival of a trio of classic communion-style greys, manifestations that can only be described as demonic, and to cap it all off, an exorcism performed by a local bishop and his acolytes that met with total failure. That was a great joy.
I mean, I honestly think that like them in the van puking.
Yeah,
like,
puking all the way.
Someone totally, someone for sure shit their pants.
Oh my God.
There's no way.
Oh no,
I mean,
skivvies were bloomed.
dude,
The chocolate bloom occurred.
just shat yon pants. There it is.
Totes. To make matters worse, while Joyce had sensed a negative presence on the ranch from the moment they had set foot on it, and had heard the odd guttural sounds emanating from the house during the aborted exorcism, she'd not actually seen the would-be alien abductors that John had successfully fended off with an aluminum bat, and in a desperate bid to maintain her own fragile grip on sanity, she chalked much of the ranch's weirdness up to her husband's evidently declining mental health. This would be a notion that she would eventually be disabused of. So she's just trying to believe it's all in John's head because the alternative blows.
Some aliens are coming home to roost, baby.
After the deaths of his horse and his favorite dog, Gunner, and with he and Joyce waking up nearly every morning with a fresh array of mysterious injuries, John took to letting pairs of his pack of Rottweilers sleep inside the house. He brought their crates into his 800-square-foot sun porch and let them have the run of the place at night, hoping that their more acute senses would help alert them to the proximity of the nocturnal assailants. Be they alien, demon, ghost, or all of the above, which John was increasingly coming to believe was likely the case. By way of increasing home protection and just an abundant love of animals, John also adopted a pit bull named Daisy, as well as a stray cat he found sitting on his truck every morning who he dubbed Gumby. So
Aww.
Daisy and Gumby.
Dude,
so cute.
Gumby with some
yeah.
Rottweilers and a pit bull. There you go.
Daisy would become John's nearly constant companion, and he would often find Daisy and her canine compatriots wandering the house, hackles up, fur bristling, growling at what appeared to be empty space, which is something I guess pet owners are accustomed to anyway, especially cats, staring at closets,
They're the ones you got to fucking
corners.
pay attention to.
Yeah.
It's always fucking unnerving.
Skunks.
The Edmonds indoor menagerie of animal biosensors was made complete with the arrival of a talking parrot named Scarlet, who John would describe to Jimmy Church on his Fade to Black show as his Flintstones alarm system, as she had a penchant for squawking the phrase "bad dogs" over and over at the top of her lungs whenever she sensed a dark presence in the ranch. So she can get the feel. Birds, I guess, can get the feels.
Okay.
They get the alien feels, the demon feels,
Just seems like out of all the pets,
and they're bad fucking dogs.
the bird is just still when you're like, I don't know, man.
What? You never liked birds.
I don't like
You
birds.
and your wife hate
Yeah, we
birds.
both hate
It's
birds.
so fucking weird.
Yeah, I
like
don't
they're
know.
the beautiful,
Yeah.
creatures of the
Nah,
sky.
they're
I mean, I know they're
fine.
dirty and loud too,
I wouldn't hurt a bird.
I wouldn't
but
make
I
out
just-
with a bird, but I fucking think they're cute.
Fucking bird is not the word, dude.
I don't want to own one. They are loud and annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
But-
My
but they're
mom used to
gorgeous.
own one.
Well, I mean, owls are dope.
Owls are dope.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I owned an owl, or a falcon, some sort of bird of prey,
Well, yeah, they're also
and I could
dope.
have it on my wrist.
You could.
Yeah,
With that little leather strappy thing.
yeah,
And it's
dude.
the helmet,
Oh,
right? They wear the fucking
Weird,
helmet.
like
or whatever.
aviator goggles or whatever they put on.
Yeah, and
them.
I'm like, why are you wearing a helmet?
Yeah.
Is it just cool? Is it serve a purpose?
Are they blinders?
Why does the bird have leather armor? What the fuck?
To look
Yeah, I
cool
know.
because it's metal as shit.
Maybe you put it. I think you put the helmet on the bird. People are going to email us about this.
I need to drop his armor class by 5. That's a 2E, not a 5E, just in case you're wondering.
Fucking Scarlet does not like fucking chainmail. They ain't gonna work for a
Can you
bird.
imagine? There's a pile of metal, just a falcon head sitting out of it, like, bruh. I don't know what the fuck you're thinking, but
There you go, man. Oh, all right. Scarlet.
Yes, bad dogs.
Bad dogs.
Though not nearly as dramatic, but certainly adding to the frustration, John began noticing food items, eggs, pizza, beer, that would inexplicably go missing from the fridge when he was home alone, especially when he was hungry. Dicks.
You fuckers.
Real dick roommate move, even from another
Yeah.
dimension.
Yeah.
He couldn't fathom why these paranormal provocateurs would need to eat, or even more annoyingly, why dishes that they used were left in such a state of disarray. Yeah, they'd take out utensils and shit and just leave them all over the
They don't
house.
even. They're not even physical.
Dicks. Well, they are when they want to be. That's the thing.
Oh, the doppelganger.
Yeah. Metaphysical.
Yeah, okay.
Hyperphysical.
Fucking doppelganger wife crushing your 12 fucking Coors Light.
Oh.
Crushing on my Coors.
I mean, go for it.
Yeah, in that case, it's
hey.
a favor.
Yeah.
That's my cracker water, god damn it.
Add to this the fact that the strange lights and odd aerial objects that he used to only see above the desert were now making frequent flybys over his ranch. Stranger still were the strange skyborne portals he would watch soar above as if attached to an invisible craft, revealing what appeared to be the lava lamp-like innards of the unseen vessel, and, even more disturbing, the silhouettes of unknown beings peering down at him. So he's seeing these openings, and it's got like weird globules and fucking whatever, 70s fucking, love dens and weird silhouettes staring down at him.
Huh.
So
weird like sky portals. Almost like there's a ship there and kind of like something's open.
that's how I described
same,
it, but he just describes it as portals. So maybe it's the actual portals floating, as are sometimes seen above Skinwalker, evidently.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Fuck. Okay.
As had become his habit, John kept a camcorder on him at all times and took hours of footage of these extraordinary airborne anomalies and their occupants. As if the constant attacks and aerial invaders weren't enough, a new kind of crazy critter began to show up on the ranch. Bizarre, lumbering, 10 to 12 foot tall, 4 foot wide beings that John began to refer to as Brillo men.
What?
Yeah, we got a new kind of beastie.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
At first, he described these bipedal, almost Bigfoot-like beasts as resembling the classic mascot of the Michelin Tire Company, known in France as Bibendum, I'm sure I've mispronounced that, but more commonly referred to in English as the Michelin Man. This iconic image was first introduced in 1894 and consists of an illustrated humanoid figure made up of stacked white tires. It should be noted that there is an entire catalog of mostly diminutive euphonauts who seem to be nearly identical to the Michelin Man, or at least clad in a protective suit that makes them appear as such. Which, as I often say, and always mean, though rarely get to it, we will be covering at some point.
I think we did cover that at one point, didn't we?
I don't think so.
I thought we covered beings that appeared like that, like weird Michelin.
I don't think
Man
we
type
did a
things.
full-on Michelin
Yeah,
Man.
it sounds sort of familiar, but no,
I think it was
think
an
we did
Albert
a full episode
Rosales. I'm almost positive.
We might have, like, when we did one of our humanoid things.
Yeah, I think it was there, yeah.
But I know because I've been collecting notes on it for years. There's
not
like
a full
6
one.
or 7 full-on, Michelin Man encounters.
Okay, cool.
And
Sweet.
they'll get their own dealio at some point.
I'm stoked.
But back to the Brillo Men. This description, however, was not representative of what John was encountering. In other words, not white, ripply thing. As he explained, the Michelin Man reference was only to express the creature's wide-set humanoid form, not its overall appearance. This particular body shape might also conform to that of a rotund Sasquatch, but as these things crept closer and closer to his home, John was able to get a good look, and what he described was definitely not a hairy hominid. In fact, it seemed to defy biological explanation. Much like its name implies, its body appeared to be made up of a mass of steel wool woven together into a basic, semi-see-through human shape. So,
What?
wires. Just fucking wire.
Okay.
A wire person.
Okay.
All right, what? That's creepy. A wire person's.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
At first, the rancher only spied these massive monstrosities from a distance in the early morning or evenings. Seemingly shy, the creatures would linger on the periphery of his property, peeking around trees or wandering slowly on the horizon. Although he wasn't sure why, these humongous humanoids gave John bad vibes, as he would tell Jimmy Church, quote, "I thought to myself, this is something bad. I mean, obviously it's got bad intentions. There's something real negative about it, but I couldn't do anything about it," end quote. Soon after, John's brother, whose name was never given, but who John mentioned lived on a native reservation, came to visit his beleaguered sibling. During his time on the ranch, John's brother saw the bulky beasts, which he referred to as brujas. Witches.
Oh, yeah, the old Brujas.
These Brillo brujas performed some truly telegnostic feats, which John explained to Church, stating, "My brother saw one of these creatures walk right through the fence and walk through a horse." Literally, like interdimensionally, transdimensionally, whatever you want to call it.
Just walking through a
Walking
horse.
through a fucking horse.
Okay.
So, not biological in the strictest sense of the earth term.
Yeah, totally.
Though maybe in some other, definition of it.
Okay.
It was then that the Brillo men started coming up to his house, moving around the outskirts, looking in the windows. Strained well past the point of mercy, John utilized his vast armory to take pot shots at the creatures with both long rifles and M16s. Despite their high caliber, the bullets had no effect on the bizarre behemoths, with John claiming they never screamed, fell, or seemed to be even fazed by the shots. Weirder yet, when he went to inspect the scene, all he'd ever find were broken branches where the thing had trampled through, but no blood. John explained his state of mind after discovering their evident invulnerability to the guys on the Jibber Jabber, excuse me for saying that funny, podcast, stating, "That's great. Not only have I got the ranch from hell, but I've got monsters that are bulletproof."
I mean,
what a pain in the dick.
You just can't hit them. Like, it's not necessarily bulletproof. There's not possibly to hit them.
Or if they're just made of fucking wires, it's passing right through them.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's
that's what I'm
just
thinking,
a
right?
I almost
cluster,
think like you might need hear me out here, okay?
Okay.
A grenade.
that has more the potential for widespread damage.
A grenade. I think a
yeah.
grenade would work. Or some kind of cool predator. Ooh, predator-esque trap.
Or maybe something electrical. Just because it looks like steel wool doesn't mean it's actually made of steel.
Zap him with 480. Just roast him. Yeah. some
Classic,
big industrial.
Christian I. Nyby II, not Howard Hawks, the thing from another world where they electrocuted
just shock the shit out of those bastards.
Hell
then
yeah.
shoot them.
Something. Just a catapult of anvils.
Yeah, blunder.
I feel like bludgeoning is gonna.
Bludgeoning. Yeah.
I don't know. How do you bludgeon the wire?
I mean,
it can't.
I think it would change form and bend around the cudgel.
Well, you got to surprise it. You can't. You're not going to be like, "Hey, wire guy, I'm attacking you with a catapult." Like you hide it and then you fire it and it doesn't know.
Or chemicals. Hit it with chemicals. Boric acid.
Chemicals.
Hit it with acid.
Our acid's always a good one.
Yeah.
But difficult. How do you deliver acid? Where do you get acid? Acid's the hard one.
I mean, as long as you keep it in a glass container, you can order it,
Catapult with acid, then.
Yeah, catapult with acid catapult.
Instead of a boulder or an anvil.
An
anvil filled with acid.
Wow.
We're going total fucking Roadrunner with this thing.
Jesus Christ. I know it. Acme. Get him on the fucking line immediately.
I need an acid catapult.
I mean, it is out in the desert. That's where all the Acme stuff has its uses.
That's
and
fair.
it's Arizona. No one
As
gives
per
a
the
shit.
cartoon.
No one
I mean,
fucking cares
the
about buying
realistic
Arizona.
cartoon.
You can get a fucking barrel full of fucking thermite and just throw it at this fucker.
Yeah.
So, all right. Where were we when he needed us?
Yeah,
is the real
I know,
question.
really. Son of a bitch. We're right here, dude. We got great ideas.
Bulletproof or not, it became something of a sport for John to keep a weapon in his truck at all times in case he ever saw one of the things, which he would then use for target practice. When Jimmy Church asked John if these wiry wild men ever seemed violent or directly threatened him, John's response was refreshingly honest. Nah, I just don't like them around. The thing about them is they don't do anything threatening. Maybe I overreacted, but they gave me the creeps big time.
All right, well, there you go.
But I mean,
he's honest. I'm not saying it's great.
But it's not normal. This isn't fucking normal behavior. This isn't weird giant
none of
wire.
this been normal, but like.
But the thing, okay, Chris has a point.
Count your blessings. If something feels non-threatening, then just take it as a.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he did say earlier he got bad vibes from it. So, but at this point, who the fuck knows?
You're on the ranch. You can't. I feel like that's inescapable.
I guess everything's going to give you bad vibes, really.
As I said, him getting bad vibes seems fair.
Okay.
Even if his potentially lethal response was less than commensurate with their supposed crime of merely existing. Though his interactions with the Brillo men were frequent, John would never know what these things were, nor would he ever learn their intentions or exactly how or if they fit in with the rest of the paranatural pandemonium surrounding the ranch. So, even though a lot of the questions do get answered, as I've hinted a few times, Brillo men remain a mystery. Whatever the fuck they are.
Brillo man mystery.
Are they part of it? Probably, but who knows?
Cool.
What was clear, however, was that the high strangeness was jumping into overdrive, as what used to be intermittent events began happening with alarming regularity. Still, for reasons he even had a difficult time articulating in later years, John simply refused to leave the ranch, even as he struggled with how to approach the things living there. As he said on Jibber Jabber, I had one foot in the camp of, well, they're here and you can't do anything about it, so learn to live with it. And the other was, damn it, I paid a lot of money for this place. It's my house, and I'm not going to let it be inundated with a bunch of freeloading monsters.
So maybe if they were, you know what? Maybe if they fucking took a little initiative and helped out around the place
Some
instead
chores.
of flattening fucking animals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, there's a Brillo man. They're walking the cattle. There, you earn your goddamn keep.
Walking the cattle.
Walking the cattle. Is that what you do with cattle?
You're
walk
so
them?
familiar with a farm.
Dude, you gotta walk the
I don't
cattle.
know.
Gotta walk
feed-
the cattle.
you feed
Milk
chicken.
sucks if you don't walk a cattle.
Dude, you gotta feed chickens. You gotta walk the cattle.
Yeah.
Don't milk the bull. Whoa.
Well.
Yeah, whoa, that's weird, dude.
Oh, man.
There you go.
Kingpin all over again.
Oh, Jesus.
Once again,
Good Paul.
John committed himself to the fact that the ranch was his home come hell or high water. And if protecting it was destined to take him down, at least he'd go down swinging.
I fucking love it.
Despite his promise to make it work, John knew he was in over his head. Lacking a clear course of action and not knowing what else to do, he decided finally to go public with his account and see if he couldn't find some advice from others who may have, against all odds, gone through a similar experience. After listening to an episode of the paranormal late-night radio program, the legendary Coast to Coast AM, John came across an interview with Air Force veteran cum ufologist Captain Robert Collins. John contacted Collins, who was intrigued by his Stardust tales and their similarities to both the Bradshaw and Skinwalker ranches. Collins then introduced the harried rancher to Peter Gersten, the founder of the nonprofit organization Citizens Against UFO Secrecy, or CAUSE, a freedom of information activist group advocating for the release of classified info regarding UFOs. Gersten, a criminal defense attorney, founded CAUSE in 1977 to bring a FOIA suit against the CIA, which resulted in over 900 UFO documents being released in 1979. This guy goes a little batshit crazy. It doesn't really tie in with this.
Okay.
But do some research. It's worth fucking looking into.
All right,
but
cool.
at this point, he was still a fairly legit and respected
Sure.
member of ufology.
Sweet.
Gersten, the then director of the group, invited John to create a formal record of the events that occurred on the ranch by posting them to the CAUSE website. Initially reluctant, John, understanding that to get the help he needed, he would have to be open about the situation, complied with Gersten's request and began filing the reports that first brought his case to the attention of those interested in ufology and eventually the wider world. So that's how the story first got out. While John feared that his foray into the public sphere would have dire consequences for his professional reputation, he had no idea just how far the powers that be, both terrestrial and non, would go to silence him. But before that happened, John would have an experience with local law enforcement that would prove to him that, at least regarding paranormal matters, he and Joyce were utterly alone. According to John's book, Stardust Ranch, The Incredible True Story, on an evening sometime in either 2005 or 2006, though I've heard elsewhere 1998 or 99. Again, this is just part of the litany of discrepancies that we'll deal with at some point. When he and Joyce were still living alone in the area, because at this point, for many years, there was just that ranch, Stardust, nothing else. But eventually neighbors did come in by the end of this story. So they're, at this point, they're still alone. The couple stepped outside to see a truly colossal black triangle hovering, according to varying reports, from 60 to 300 feet over their corral. Though it was dark and they could make out few specifics, they could clearly see that the humongous opaque shape covering nearly 5 acres of their 10-acre property blacked out all of the stars above it.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's fucking massive.
Damn.
John had come to believe, as do many others in ufology, that these black triangles were not extraterrestrial in origin, but part of a secret black project military aircraft known in some circles as TR-3B.
And that's what's been talked about today with Grush.
Oh, today?
Well, not today, but just, in today's disclosure.
Right.
These are the crafts that they back engineered from aliens, these crazy
since
triangle
the
crafts.
Belgian wave, they have been talking about them being clandestine military things, obviously with the Phoenix lights as well, even though the boomerang shape, some of them thinking they're lighter than aircraft, which would explain their silence.
There's actually a MUFON sighting in Auburn of these.
Really?
Yeah, like just over on like near like Elizabeth and like Shadell, there was someone that like put a thing up on MUFON about it.
We know somebody, which I'm not going to out him on air, that someone locally too.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, they're fucking everywhere, dude.
The Black Triangles.
You guys gotta get on top of this shit.
Oh yeah, clearly.
Daddy's got to sleep. You guys gotta go out. You guys gotta go out in the streets, take care of this
Yeah,
shit.
Chris and I have to hit the fucking concrete, make
yeah,
it happen.
Dude, you got the battle van. Chris has the e-bike. There you go. Together,
true.
you guys are a fucking.
We can patrol the different
You
sectors.
guys are the fucking sweeter
All right.
monster squad.
I'll get a sidecar and we'll fucking.
Let's do it.
Fuck you.
I love it.
Cool.
Fucking A. So, all right. So they got the Black Triangle. I've lost my place. There it is. Either way, John was unable to get any usable footage because of the darkness. And unsure as to how to proceed, he phoned ufologist Peter Gersten from the Cause website we just mentioned, who told him that he needed corroboration and that John had to call the police to get an official record made of the event. John did as he was told, and within 20 minutes, a representative of the Maricopa Sheriff's Office arrived at the scene. John was delighted because he'd been convinced that the craft would vanish before the authorities arrived, but his concerns were for naught as the hovering shape remained immobile above the ranch. The officer got out of the cruiser, stared skyward at the Mammoth Triangle, and radioed into headquarters saying that he'd arrived and that there was an object the size of a football field overhead. Despite the dry heat, John noted that the deputy was wearing a long raincoat over his uniform and plastic wrap over his hat. Weirder yet, he had taped paper over the numbers on the side of his cruiser, completely blocking the vehicle identifier. John immediately realized that the officer was going to great lengths to conceal his identity. He asked the lawman his name, and when he didn't respond, John inquired if he intended to make an official report. At that, the nameless, though very likely mustachioed policeman just chuckled and said, "You're not here. It's not here. I'm not here." And without another word, he got into his vehicle and drove away.
Fucking Maricopa County
Yeah.
Sheriff's Department, dude. God damn it.
I mean, at least they showed up.
But
At the very least.
But it's a dick move. You're like, oh, we're gonna do raincoat, rain hat. We're gonna we'll use paper
Yeah,
to
some
cover the
loose
letters.
leaf and masking tape.
Yeah, we're like, oh, there's something here. Oh, wait a minute, I'm not here.
Did
You're
he
not
even
here.
actually radio it in, or did he fake
Yeah,
radio
did
it
he,
in?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like, did he turn on and make the noise? Right.
He probably
And
did.
I mean, I don't know how sheriff's office work. I know that they're basically like the feudal system of law enforcement where a fucking sheriff is the high lord, the elected law in a certain area,
Yes,
and you
you're the-
can't fuck around.
Yes, we elect our sheriffs.
And especially in like, smaller areas, more isolated areas back then particularly.
Feudal.
I think, it's really not that far off.
It's really not.
So,
no.
I mean, if it's just Edna back at the fucking office, he could have radioed back in and
To
there'd still
nobody.
be
It
no
Yeah.
threat of it there being a permanent record.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I really don't know, but it's
I mean,
fucked
if
up.
we got any sheriffs out there, let us know how y'all operate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it really like a fiefdom?
I know, right?
And you pass the torch to the next generation. Take my shield and cruiser.
If John hadn't realized before, it was now perfectly clear that he would receive no help from the authorities. Not, in all fairness, that there was much they could do in a situation like that anyway.
Just take shots at it.
Yeah, or pop a couple shots, take
yeah.
a couple Polaroids, do
Yeah,
something.
get some pictures. Call some helicopters.
The corroboration did not happen.
No shit.
Not long after, John would have one of the creepiest encounters he'd ever had on the ranch. He was sitting at a picnic table near the house, surrounded by an array of dismantled firearms, which he was oiling and cleaning. John was accompanied by an unidentified friend from Buckeye who was on hand to learn the proper method of cleaning his own guns. The pair were drinking brews, listening to the radio, and chatting in the shade of the carport when a dark sedan with government plates pulled up outside of the tall steel gate that separated his driveway from the road. Two thin, pallid men, clad in identical black suits, white shirts, fedoras, and sunglasses, got out of the vehicle. At this point, despite his research into alien abduction and the nearly ubiquitous knowledge of the hit 1997 movie, John was utterly unaware of the highly secretive, possibly extraterrestrial, potentially government-funded group hell-bent on maintaining silence surrounding the UFO subject known the world over as the Men in Black.
Oh, I got some MIBs.
To John, the pair merely resembled the iconic comic duo known as the Blues Brothers.
Right.
So he thought he was getting a little government Blues Brothers visitation.
All right. Well,
And he wanted to know why 2 government agents were sniffing around his property. John and his friend watched as the officious-looking men approached the locked gate. But within seconds, their curiosity devolved into shock as the figures simply walked through the metal bars as if, as John wrote, they were made of cigarette smoke. John's friend was dumbfounded, looking back and forth between John and the inexplicable intruders as if he expected his buddy to shout, "Gotcha!" John, for his part, was getting used to the incomprehensible and simply stood up and walked down the driveway to meet the pair, asking, "Can I help you, gentlemen?" The odd duo didn't respond, but stopped uncomfortably close to the homeowner. John was about to ask for ID when one of them leaned in until his face was a mere 6 inches away and said, "You're John Edmonds, and you're going to stop publishing articles on Peter Gersten's website." John was taken aback. The sickly pale figure's voice sounded monotone and oddly flat, like a tinny old audio recording. Then the other piped up in the same voice, adding, "People are starting to listen. It's not safe for you and your wife." Then, without so much as another word, the insidious agents simultaneously turned, walked back down the driveway, T2'd their way through the gate as if it wasn't there, climbed into their vehicle, and drove away in a cloud of desert dust. John later described their appearance to Jibber Jabber, stating, "They didn't look human. Have you ever seen uncooked chicken under a fluorescent light in a grocery store? They looked greasy, but not sweaty, oily." Adding to Jimmy Church, "They were pale, corpse-like, unlike anyone in Arizona." It's just very
Fair.
Everyone's gonna have a tan there.
Everyone's leather. Yeah.
But yeah, that description of like dead chicken plucked
Yeah,
skin
that's
under
weird.
a fluorescent, like an old school.
I know what it
grocery
is
light.
too. It's that weird,
sick,
white, pale, gross,
greasy
look.
but not oily.
Like
Yeah.
salmonella-y look.
Ugh.
Yeah. Ugh.
Just sitting there too long.
I mean, you're there greasing your guns with your boys, like.
Yeah, you're just having a good old time.
But I'm
listening
saying
to fucking
you're there.
38 special or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, do Bad Company by Bad Company. Yeah,
There it
dude.
is.
There it is.
Deep Purple. I always go back to Deep Purple.
Yeah, you have to.
I love
Yeah,
Deep
dude,
Purple.
Fuck.
So, John's friend, who remained back at the picnic table, was understandably shaken. He asked John a barrage of nervous questions. How did they walk through the gate? What did they want? What was wrong with their skin and voices? John had no answers for him, and after the initial wave of manic excitement died down, fear took over, and within minutes, John's buddy made hasty apologies and left the ranch for good. So, fuck that. That dude's out.
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
it
it.
for him.
It's understandable. Like,
I mean, I'm here to lube a gun.
yeah, dude. I just want to listen to fucking Black Sabbath and lube some weapons.
I'm not looking for dead chicken people to teleport through a
No.
fucking gate
Yeah.
and
No.
threaten us.
I mean, as stand your ground as John is, I'm surprised he's not attacking more shit randomly. Honestly,
I
feel
shoot
like
the
this
shit
is-
out of Brillo,
like,
dude.
this is my shit. I'm fucking here. You're not coming at it. You have a whole stack of guns you're greasing,
That's true.
and MIBs show up. You're like, huh.
I mean, what are you going to take pot shots at government agents?
Well,
I mean,
that's
they have
right.
government
You-
plates.
You got to have a little bit of discretion.
That's
Nah.
basically you're asking for a Waco.
Yeah, you could get Waco'd, or like
100%.
You could get a Ruby Ridge out of that,
Or fucking what's his nuts who wrote "Behold a Pale Horse." He got shot down by the government.
Fucking
Cooper.
William Cooper.
Yeah.
Died under mysterious circumstances by getting shot by sheriffs.
Yeah.
I think he shot.
Mysteriously.
I think he shot a sheriff.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't too mysterious. Actually, I think if you shoot a sheriff, they tend to shoot you back.
But I mean, if anyone's going to get taken out, boy,
William Cooper.
yeah, that
Sick.
dude.
Fuck.
I gotta say, I mean, he was shady. I don't know if anyone's ever read "Behold a Pale Horse." There was a lot of sus about it, but I've listened to like some of his 4-hour lectures,
Oh,
and
yeah,
after a while,
100%.
they're kind of hypnotic.
He-
You're like, I mean, I almost want to believe the dude.
He goes play. He had a lot of connections to a lot of different people, and he goes places with his shit. But then you're like, oh, the reptilian base. That's right. So, and he jumps real quick to that. I don't know if-
Yeah.
I mean, first couple of pages, like, okay, cool, get it. Reptiles.
I love the war between the Soviets and the Americans in the like 1960s shag carpet moon base.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite bits.
Dude, he jumps right to that shit.
But I guess fucking Edmonds does not want to end up like a Cooper.
I get it.
So he's not pulling his guns.
Understandable.
Okay. Despite his strange visitor's admonishment not to, John, stubborn to the end, continued to post about his experiences. Perhaps he was unfamiliar with the terrifying lore surrounding the insidious agency supporting the MIB, or maybe he couldn't fathom that the forces rallying against him would continue to push the envelope. Whatever his mindset, it wouldn't be until a few days later that he realized just how much jeopardy his life was in. John was polishing a metal part on his motorcycle in the same storage shed where the monster killer claimed to have resided when, without warning, a large caliber bullet exploded through the wooden wall and whizzed past his head, exiting the back of the shack. Stunned, John had no way of knowing how the assassin could see him through the wall, or if the shot had been intended to kill him or merely frighten him. Either way, the words of the men in black rang in his ears as he bolted out of the shed for what he hoped would be the refuge of his thick brick house. Though he was fully expecting a hail of bullets, no shots followed the first. Once safely inside his house, John snagged a pair of binoculars, peeked out the window, and scanned the surrounding hillside in the direction from which the sniper's bullet had come, but he could see no trace of the shooter.
Dude, you got snipers now on you, dude.
It's on.
You're trying to polish a metal part of your motorcycle?
Just
which
trying
is
to
a
get
lot of your motorcycle?
The bumper looking good or
Just
whatever.
trying to get the metal part looking sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, and then just fuck sniper attack, dude.
John called the police and answered the usual questions, assuring them that he owed no money and that no one had tried to buy his land and that neither he nor his wife had crazy exes. When asked why someone may want to kill him, John decided he was better off keeping his mouth shut rather than explain to the deputy that he'd become a whistleblower regarding an intergalactic way station / hellmouth and that nefarious ufological figures who could walk through solid objects had warned him to be quiet, but he had refused, and now they and their subordinates were evidently gunning for him. The officer did his due diligence, but there wasn't enough evidence to work with.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta be up front, man.
I mean,
truth will set you free.
Yeah, but also make you look like a fucking crackpot.
Well, hey, you know, if this is the truth you're living.
It's hard.
Just real quick, I think it's funny that the MIBs are like, stop posting on websites. Like they are in their MIB home and they're just like, fucking Claxor, look what this asshole posted again. Like the MIB are following websites.
I mean, they
it just
would
seems
be.
pedestrian. It just seems pedestrian.
Well, no, that's the biggest source of like.
I know, but it just seems so weird. Like that you know.
I mean, first off,
do they use safe browsing?
It's earlier in the internet.
Do you think that they use? Oh, there's no safe browsing.
So there's no safe browsing,
and there was no porn tubes. It was all thumbnail sites.
So as exciting as the history of internet porn is, what we need to realize is that this is no different than when people would publish books or pamphlets that they would mail out to maybe 12 people worldwide, and they'd still get visitations.
Okay,
it doesn't seem to have any rhyme or reason. What seems to be the only correlation, and I do love the idea that like they were reanimating corpses of like dead government agents or whatever, and aliens are taking over, whatever they are, we don't know, and eventually I guess we'll have to deal with that too in a pod. But the agenda always seems to be, if somebody has accidentally stumbled onto a part of the truth that they find dangerous, even if to the rest of us it seems no more or less important than a million other sightings or encounters, they specifically go to stop them.
Yeah, shut that shit down.
So it's either like really sloppy bullshit and they just pick random people, or it's like eighth dimensional chess where they are stopping the very specific people that could trigger an avalanche of, information release.
True.
And they have to like stop this one particular hole in the dike before it explodes.
Just imagine now, especially with social media, they gotta be busy, dude. The algorithm's a fucking beast. They're probably scrolling through Reddit constantly looking for shit.
And now they got alleged footage, security cam footage.
Oh
of
yeah,
people
the hotel
are maybe. And I wouldn't here's the other thing too. I would never, put it beyond any government agency looking into it. And certainly there are government agencies, the blue books and the signs and the grudges were like the forward face, and now the A-tips and, whatever UAP task force.
Yeah.
But there's always been somebody behind the scenes doing the real work.
Right.
And why wouldn't you use this mythos to your advantage? Have some of your agents make sure they don't go out in the sun that much. Get the simple black 1960s Mad Men style suits and fedoras.
Yeah.
Send them
Use
out
it
there
to
to
your
ask some
advantage,
questions.
yeah,
Use
man.
it. It's a total psyop.
Psychological, do Mirage Man.
Totes.
Yeah. Shit.
So
All
right. The next potentially lethal incident occurred soon after on one of the Edmonds Friday date nights. the one that resulted in doppelganging in the past.
Right, yeah.
John and his wife were about to get into his truck when they were suddenly pinned down by a hail of machine gun fire, which John recognized as belonging to an AK-47. He and Joyce dove down in front of the truck, hoping the heavy engine block would protect them as the bullets flew by. Luckily, John had his cell phone on him, and he called the sheriff. After about 15 minutes of relentless fire, the terrified couple, still crouching by the truck's front bumper, heard the law, sirens blaring, arriving in force. Later, John found out that some of his steadily encroaching neighbors had heard the melee and had also called the police. The couple answered all the requisite questions, and John explained that the shots had come from the hills across the highway. But, as in the previous attempted murder, the police were stymied, and no one was ever held responsible for the nearly disastrous assault. So, second incident, now it's him and his wife.
Yeah.
Hail of bullets.
Hail of bullets, all
Yep.
right.
It's clearly people meaning business. And if they're not trying to kill them, they're really trying to scare the shit out of them.
I mean, if they're shooting at him for 15 minutes,
That's a lot
That's a
of
loud,
bullets.
dude. A fucking AK is loud as shit.
Yeah.
Like guns are loud, but those are super loud.
No, I actually watched some videos to get
Yeah.
like a vibe on it, and it was ridiculously loud on YouTube.
Yeah,
And some dude was just shooting a fucking barrel.
yeah. I mean, at least he's got neighbors encroaching.
Yeah. Which he hates.
I mean,
By the way,
You're
of
right.
course he hates it.
I'm sure he's like, these fucking people. This place used to be something. It used to fucking be something.
Yeah, he's definitely like the Jake the Snake meets Archie Bunker
Yeah.
of paranormal
Can
horror.
definitely see
100%.
it. Definitely see it.
During those dark days, it wasn't only John and Joyce who were in jeopardy, but their animals were once again coming under fire, though not literally.
Oh, thank God, Jesus! Don't shoot the fucking pitbull.
The non-human members of the household were being targeted by something much more nebulous. One evening, when both he and his wife were watching television, John suddenly sensed the presence of the Greys. At that same moment, their cat, Gumby, ran past them, literally vanishing before their eyes.
Cat? They got the fucking cat.
Got the cat.
Fuck.
John and Joyce searched high and low, but could find no trace of the feline. Joyce assumed it had been a trick of the light and the cat had to be hiding somewhere in the house, but John knew better and feared the worst. Then, weeks later, when he'd given up all hope of ever finding his furry feline friend, John unlocked his truck door to find Gumby cowering on the seat. He had no idea how the animal had been deposited into his locked vehicle, but even though the cat looked scared and scrawny, it was still very much alive. The ranch's next victim would not be so lucky.
Oh, no, dude.
One morning, John, as he did every day, was heading out to the stable to feed his prized horses. It had been quite some time since the dark forces had claimed his last horse, and as he entered the structure, he was shocked to find that they'd struck again. But this wasn't like the bloodbath of broken limbs and twisted entrails that had accompanied his last gutted animal. This execution was much more meticulous, in line with the prototypical methods of alleged alien cattle mutilations. John walked around the still fresh carcass, doing his best to remain objective. Once again, the killing took place inside the stable, but unlike the last horse, this one was evidently completely drained of blood. Its eyes, anus, and genitals had been cored out as if with a precision instrument like a laser. Oddly, all 4 of its hooves had been surgically amputated at the ankle and removed from the scene. The first time this had happened, John had spent weeks clad in camo, sleeping outside, hoping to catch what he assumed was an all-too-human assailant. But this time was different. He knew who was responsible. It had to be the work of the Greys, and this time he intuitively understood that they had no concern, medical or otherwise, for the animal they'd butchered. This was done to traumatize him.
Oh, man, that's a fucking weird psychological move.
Though enraged, John decided to stifle his anger and try a non-violent approach to dealing with these alien assassins. During his time on the spread, especially since rescuing the abandoned horses, John had picked the brains of his fellow ranchers and learned from them a technique known as horse whispering. Yeah, didn't know we were going here, did you?
I did not.
No.
This phenomenon, made famous in the 1995 novel The Horse Whisperer by Nicholas Edmonds and the 1998 Robert Redford vehicle of the same name, basically entails a less disciplined and whip-oriented method of training, advocating instead for a more empathetic and holistic technique. But John added that the ranchers he spoke with explained that the truth behind it was honing the parapsychological ability to insert thoughts from a human mind into that of a horse, creating a psychic rapport between the trainer and the animal, wherein the former simply shows the latter the desired behavior. I did not realize that's what it was supposed to be.
Oh, boy.
I'm
Yeah, I
sure
don't
some
know.
horse trainers might take umbrage.
I mean, I feel like that's just communicating.
Yeah.
Like, you're just trying to make it understand something and knows what you're
just-
saying.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
Instead of, like,
how convenient would
inserting
that be if you could doolittle your fucking way into any situation? Just like, this is the thing.
Right. I
Boom.
mean, with dogs, especially dogs that are like not like they're driven by like, oh, good boy, like, you know, like good behavior.
Sure,
That's
positive reinforcement.
positive reinforcement. That's what I was looking for. Positive reinforcement's cake, but this sounds like you're trying to get on a horse's level to communicate with them.
Well,
It's too much.
it seems like it's too much. And maybe this is what horse whispering is. I've never
They're
quite
too
understood.
big. They got big teeth.
Like animal psychics out there, and I
Too
hope
big.
no one should be offended. I mean, horse tooth notwithstanding, I've always thought it really. I mean, it's hard enough. Even though I do believe that in ESP, and I do believe in telekinesis, and to a degree clairvoyance, and certainly remote viewing. I think there's the potential for human-to-human interface that is out there, whether via the Akashic record or some other method. Yeah, I knew it was going to happen there.
I'm over it. I expect it. Every couple months, it creeps in.
Dude, that's how I talk to my cat Sparkles is through the fucking
The Akashic
Akashic
record?
record.
Sure.
It doesn't work with Leo though.
I'm not
The dog.
going to have it belittled.
Because
dog-
he's not tapped
because
into
he's
it,
too
that's why.
dumb.
That's where all
He's
inspiration
too
comes from.
stupid.
You and your dumb cat.
My cat's smart. My dog is dumb as shit. I love them both.
But that's the goddamn problem.
okay, all right,
The
man.
problem is talking human to animal.
Yeah.
I mean, elephant's one thing. They're clearly smarter
But if
than
it's
us.
the Akashic record, anything's possible.
God damn it.
You could talk to a dildo if you wanted to.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
You don't know how it
A whole
works.
series of butt plugs. You could talk to him.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I'm so dumb
Ask your
with you.
horse, which one do you like?
Jesus Christ.
I don't think
Your
butt plugs
horse
are
that's
part of
pissing
it.
fucking Coors into your mouth? Circa last week's pod?
Chris missed the Clydesdale that was
Yeah,
just
he wa-
shitting beer all over
Yeah, he
me.
wanted the fucking Clyde's keg. Shitting beer directly into his
The
face.
funny
Yeah.
part is as I was editing that, I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why did some things come to my mind? I just shouldn't fucking talk about it. Like asking the horse what butt plug it likes.
Well, that's there.
I mean,
I mean, all right. Well,
We're locked in.
All right, we're talking to horses.
It was a skill set that John attempted to apply to his gray problem, striving to, in effect, become an alien whisperer.
Oh no. Okay.
Though he tried long and hard to offer a figurative olive branch to the guileful grays, especially when he sensed their physical presence, they either could not or would not respond. John's effort to broker a tentative peace between these beings and himself was a bust. The ranch would remain a war zone, and John lived in a perpetual state of hypervigilance. Following his run-in with the specters, satanic forces, men in black, and what were likely government killers, and finally alien abductors, John, who'd trained his mind to always be on the lookout for the arrival of the putrid, dead meat-scented garbage maggots of the paranormal plane, known as the Greys. I'm a little biased.
Wow.
Not a fan.
Hateful much, huh?
Not a fan.
Okay.
Sharpened his alertness to a razor's edge. This ultra-awareness extended into the bedroom where John, who had never been much of a deep sleeper, found that he would wake at the slightest sound or environmental change. This would serve him well as Joyce would fall prey to a new gray-induced phenomenon that began occurring with alarming frequency. Though he was never exactly sure what triggered it, John would suddenly find himself waking up in the dead of night only to find his wife flat on her back, levitating a few feet above the bed. He would shake her and push her downward until whatever the invisible force was that had lifted her would dissipate, and she'd float back down, still asleep or groggily waking with no memory of what had just happened. John prayed that these episodes would cease, but the disturbing interludes grew more and more frequent, with Joyce not only hovering, but moving toward the bedroom door. Every time he would prevent Joyce from levitating, he would try to broach the subject the next morning at breakfast, but she never had any recollections of the incidents. This put a strain on their marriage, as Joyce was forced to take the word of a man who had not only refused to leave the ranch no matter how much she'd pleaded, but was making what were to her at least increasingly ludicrous claims. Sure, she'd seen something weird in the sky above the corral, but maybe that was just an odd dark cloud, the big giant triangle I'm talking about there. Perhaps, she considered, the man she married was losing his grip on reality. Maybe John really was losing his mind. These alarming incidents continued until one night John woke up to find his wife missing. At first he wasn't too concerned, assuming she'd gotten up to use the bathroom, but when she failed to return, John began to search the house. Walking into the hallway, he was startled to see that Joyce was floating slowly down the corridor, maybe 3 feet off the floor. He ran to her, trying to push her down and shake her awake as he had many times before, only this time she remained unconscious and continued hovering toward one of the outside walls. John grabbed her ankles, trying to pull her back toward the bedroom, but nothing he did could impede her progress. He was relieved to think that at least the wall would stop her, but to his horror, she passed right through the solid barrier with the same ease as the men in black had moved through the front gate. Terrified, John ripped open the door and was astounded to see a huge, metallic, 1950s-style flying saucer hovering maybe 100 feet above him. The craft was shooting a bluish-white beam down onto his lawn, and John could only watch in horror as his wife inexorably floated toward it. So she went through the wall. She's still 3 feet above the dirt.
Yep.
She's heading toward the beam that's coming straight down.
Dude.
Maybe 10 feet away.
Time is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To do what?
Hold on. Hold your horses. hold your beer shitting Clydesdales for 1 second.
Listen.
Let me read.
Okay. I'm so amped right now.
With the frustration, fear, and anger rising inside of him, John decided that enough was enough. He might not be able to stop these alien bastards from taking the woman he loved, but that didn't mean he wasn't going to try. The enraged husband ran back inside and made a beeline for just the right weapon. Seconds later, he reemerged from the house holding a Soviet-made Avtomat Kalashnikova gas-operated assault rifle complete with a banana clip, which, for those who don't know, are 2 cartridge holders attached end-to-end, both loaded with 7.62 39mm cartridges for maximum firepower. That's right, folks. John was officially done fucking around.
Fuck yeah, dude. This is the part where fucking, like, dude, you fucking crack the beers. Like, fuck ass. Get these alien bastards. Shoot the fuck out of them. Don't hit your wife.
No. And that might play into something.
All right.
He aimed the AK-47 up towards the source of the light and opened fire. The weapon roared in combustible fury as the bullets screeched skyward. But by this point, Joyce was directly below the UFO's beam and was now slowly beginning to rise up towards the vessel. The first clip not having the desired effect, John popped it out, flipped it, and reinserted the other side, once again emptying the magazine into the flying saucer. They weren't taking her without a fight. It was then, when all hope seemed lost, that the unexpected occurred. Instead of stealing away with his wife, incognizant of this puny earthling's futile efforts, the light under the craft suddenly extinguished and the saucer began to steadily move away. Joyce was abruptly released by the tractor beam and came crashing down from several feet up. She woke with an agonized grunt, but this time she wasn't oblivious to her surroundings. The moment Joyce hit the dirt, she looked up and could see the massive elliptical vehicle soaring away, and all at once she knew that it was true. The reality that she'd been dreading, that she had, as much as it pained her, prayed was only in her husband's mind, was now staring her in the face. It was all real. The aliens, demons, ghosts, monsters, everything John had told her was the truth. Their ranch wasn't merely haunted by the tragically deceased, a fact that she could have found a way to cope with. No, she and John were living at ground zero of a metaphysical maelstrom unlike anyone had ever imagined. Joyce now understood that the world as she knew it was going to have to undergo a drastic reassessment. Up was down, left was orange, and nothing was as it seemed. So she knows the truth, and John just shot a fucking UFO
Dude,
away.
Yeah.
When she comes to and John's just in his fucking underwear, I'm imagining he's got like some
boxers.
No, he's got like a banana hammock. Like, dude, John sleeps.
Okay.
Dude, John's
That's
got
fair.
like he's got like a.
Is he shirtless with like a pile of gray hairs or
Oh yeah,
wearing a
no,
white
dude, his
beater?
guts hanging over. He's got his bad hair stash. He's like, "You're not taking my goddamn." Like
The
he's like
smoking
Wolverine.
barrel of the AK fucking
Dude,
in his
I just
hands.
imagine he's popping that clip and having to reverse. I used to have one of those actually with the clips put together, and you could fucking pop them out real quick, put them around the racket, and then just keep shooting. Just see him just gut banana hammock, fucking not my woman, not Joyce, just fucking railing that thing full of bullets. I wonder if the bullets are bouncing off of it, because I would be, if it's metal, I'd be concerned like if those fucking things ricochet. Because you end up fucking loading up Joyce. Next thing you know, like.
Well, this is.
You know.
I'm not going to go too far ahead, but soon we will discuss that.
Okay.
Because, well, no, let's just leave it there. There is a chance that maybe that's what caused them. I don't think a machine gun, even a powerful, AK-47, can do much damage to an interstellar or interdimensional craft. I don't know.
Unless you go for the light. Go right underneath
that's what he was doing.
those bastards and just aim
Well,
for
yeah,
the
he was
fucking,
shooting right in the beam.
like aim
right?
for the
Right.
fucking portal. Because whatever is attached to that thing, you just fucking light
Well,
it
you
up.
got to shoot the tractor beam.
Yeah,
If you think
yeah.
that's what's causing it, then you got to
100%.
Yeah.
And that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And so you're right. Joyce was on a collision course for both the where the light was emanating at the
Yeah.
base of the craft and where the bullets were flying. Maybe that had something to do with it, maybe not, but we'll table that for now.
Okay.
Right now, what we have is
John's a fucking hero.
John won.
John is a fucking hero.
Yeah. And it's a great moment. And I cannot wait to see Nick Cage play it.
Dude, Nick Cage in a banana hammock with an
With his
AK-47.
fucking Jake the Snake fucking wraparound
lighting
stash.
up a UFO. Just I got you, baby. I got you.
Oh,
Joyce.
That's the only line.
Yeah, Joyce,
Gotcha,
what happened?
baby.
Joyce, I got you, baby.
John was grateful that Joyce finally understood that he wasn't crazy, but he felt guilty that he'd put her into this predicament to begin with, and worse yet, allowed her to remain there. Still, for a while at least, John's willingness to fight back marked the end of their abductions. But it was far from the end to their torment by the Greys and the other vile vermin who continued their relentless reign of terror on them and their beloved animals. It was almost too much for John to bear, but just when it seemed as if he would succumb to these vicious occult assaults, John found that he had some unexpected allies in his war against the atrocious agents aligned against him. And the forces of light would present this washed-up warrior with a gift with which to protect the things he loved. But we'll be getting to that eventually. I'm not even going to say specifically.
Okay.
Every time I've noticed, every time I say we're going to get to something next week, it doesn't exactly come next week. So,
well, the research takes you where the research is going to take
exactly.
you.
Yeah.
I am a
Yeah.
slave to the story.
Dude, this is Stardust Ranch Part 4's Aliens and AK-47s, baby. There you have it. John protecting his woman.
It's badass.
It's badass, dude.
like this is a good second act ender,
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's like a real major confrontation that like.
and he wins, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
which
he
is
saves
unfathomable.
Joyce, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
All
why
right.
he wins? Well, we'll speculate on that.
Okay.
But he wins, and
Well-
and Joyce does not get abducted that time.
I mean, there's definitely a situation, quote unquote, coming up that, it's fucking glorious.
Oh,
it's fucking awesome.
He tried peace. We'll hint.
he tried.
Yeah.
He tried to alien whisper.
Yeah.
You know, they cored out his horse's anus. You know,
They
his
amputated the hooves at the ankles. Oh,
yeah.
Oh
it's just
God.
yuck.
Oh, it's just gross.
It's going to get worse in terms of what the aliens
Yeah.
do. But and for those who are slightly familiar with the story, you kind of know what's coming. But we're not going to say anything. For those who don't, he fights back. Like the AK-47 moment is a changing moment, and this, proverbial gift from the gods is going to fucking really mark a decided change in what's going on at the house and who's the monster now.
Yeah.
Dude, sometimes to kill a monster, you got to be a monster.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Well, there you have it. Thank you all so very much for joining us again. That is Stardust Ranch Part 4, Aliens and AK-47s. Oh, ba-ba-ba. Woo, what do we got? Robert Patreon. Shout outs for the good folks that support us over there at patreon.com/Cryptonaut podcast. Sign up, check it out. Discord is a thing. It is fucking awesome. And as we mentioned last episode, the bonus catalog is available now on Spotify. So what's dope is if you're on Spotify and you're like, oh, what's this Cryptonaut podcast? Our Patreon feed is there as well. So if you discover the show, and I got a ton of emails, people are like, dude, I'm on episode 70. This is great. Holy shit. You also have Patreon, and they can find it right there on Spotify.
That's
Everything's tied
fantastic.
together, man. Shit is the things are getting easier. Yeah, things are getting easier.
I mean,
Things are
You
getting-
seem somewhat defeated by that revelation.
It's been a long, it's been a long day.
You just looked at me like
you ran out of steam
I
and like
did. I'm
right
like-
at the top. You're
I'm like, dude,
it's all
things-
tied, man.
Yeah. Everything's pain. Like birth is pain.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
life is agony, death is release.
Oh, I should get a life is agony tattoo. I got a birth is pain. I may as well get a life is agony.
Hey, why not?
Oh man, I got no regrets too. Oh, there it is.
You literally have
I
one?
like that guy says no regrets. Yeah,
Oh,
I gotta
God
eat.
bless.
Christ, I don't know if I was fucking so young when I.
I mean, you
got
have
that.
tattoos. You have to have something that says
I
no
gotta have
regrets.
no regrets. Yeah, and it was, and as we're
Right.
doing it, we're joking. Me and my tattoo artist about no regrets. I'm like, I almost want you to have to say no regrets.
Regrets.
no regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets.
That would be fucking
That would be
hilarious.
fucking great. It would be hilarious.
But
All right,
we
Rob.
have patrons to thank,
Yes,
We do.
Yes, we do.
beginning with Lacey Miller.
Thank you, Lacey.
Lord Psycho, that's SYCO,
Cool.
and the Immortal Runts.
Man, I hope that's a band.
I do hope
that's
it's a band, too.
It might be. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's dope.
It is dope though. I like that totally.
Carrie Bernard.
Carrie Bernard.
Matthew Drew.
Matt Drew, what's
Matt.
up, buddy?
Drew.
Welcome back.
Christopher Mack.
What up, Christopher Mack?
Webb.
Hell
Two
yeah,
B's.
Webb.
Kate.
Okay.
Kate.
Just Kate.
There you go.
Thanks, Kate. Bryant Brown.
Thank you, Brian.
Juan.
Juan.
I think he's returning.
Is it the same Juan?
I think
We
we've had a
don't know.
Juan like a couple weeks in a row.
Hey,
I mean, it's the same Juan.
just keep coming back, Juan.
Just
Oh,
keep
okay.
the same name, Juan.
I'm-
We've had like 14 injured colds, and I think they're all
Well,
different.
Okay.
Well, that's a pretty common
Okay.
appellation, I
Well,
suppose.
Regardless, Juan, thank you. We appreciate it.
Benjamin Ben Hunt.
Ben Hunt, thank you so much.
Dave Franco, but not that one.
Oh.
Which, of course, means he's totally fucking that one.
Yeah, it's totally Dave Franco.
Yeah. All
Nice,
right.
Nice.
Well, your secret's safe with us, Mr.
Yeah,
Franco.
don't worry, buddy. Don't worry. All right, real quick, Robert. We got some corrections real briefly here that I'm going to do. Hunter Class. It's spelled Claise. He actually sent me an email the night that we recorded.
Uh-huh.
I got home and he's like, "No, it's my name, Class." So he didn't actually hear it. It was just some weird synchronicity. Synchronicity.
Yeah.
Hunter Class. There you go. Thank you. Also, too, we had Malachi Ankrom, Ankrom. I believe you said like Malochi,
Malachi.
but it's Malachi.
Oh, God. That
He
sounds totally like something I do.
actually
Yikes.
wrote me and said, "Rob butchered my name. It's Malachi, like Children of the Corn." You're like Malochi.
Oh my God.
Oh, I would love to be like the guy they hired to like do a reading of the King
man.
James Bible. Could you imagine the names? Oh, God.
So there it is, Hunter Class. And Malachi, thank you so much for those corrections. I don't necessarily know if they wanted corrections, but they just sent me emails. I'm like, fuck, I'm just going to do it.
Oh, we always do
It's
it.
because it's fun and it's goddamn Malachi's hilarious.
I wish I could
Jesus
remember how I
Christ.
pronounced it. It sounds like something I do.
Pretty sure it's like Malachi.
I didn't hear you guys coming in to fix it. So
I mean-
I
Dude,
feel like maybe I wasn't here for that.
No, you weren't. 100% you weren't. No, you definitely were not. So there it is. Patreon house. Thank you all so very much. Mention the Discord. Mention the Spotify integration. Making things easier. We got the HellerSpace.com. Got some t-shirts there. We got the Cryptonaut merch. We got some t-shirts there.
hell yeah.
Boom, ba boom, ba boom.
And we will have a new shirt.
Oh shit! It's in the bag.
Oh, so we're looking at the test print tonight, and once it gets the thumbs up,
Yeah, it should be up. Well, I'll show it to you guys before we start Patreon. Well, if it's good, we'll do the thumbs up. I'll get the fucking. I'll get the picture. We'll put it up on the social
which
media.
would definitely mean by the time people hear this.
100%. Yeah, definitely.
All
For sure.
right.
So it'll be in the social
So
medias.
look at which platform.
TeePublic. This is gonna be
TeePublic.
a TeePublic exclusive. This is available on some different light-colored garments. So we'll be
Yes.
doing that over there. And of course, the socials, the Instas, and the Twitters, and that's not Twitter. It's X and the Facebooks. And I can't get used to X. I just can't. I can't get used
call
to
it Twitter.
I know. I just can't. It's just so annoying. You used to be able to like retweet like RT shit. Now it's like, oh, I'm gonna repost. That's fucking sucks, man. Social media.
If you just keep
blows.
saying Twitter, then
I know.
that's what it is.
It's
Yeah.
right?
so
Like,
stupid.
It is what
I
people
don't
call
know,
it.
man. Just go on Instagram and just look at there's fucking Ultraman and there's fucking dope shit and cool fun metal stuff and the Misfits. Lots of Misfits content on the Instagrams. It's fucking dope. Speaking of the
I bet.
Misfits and Sam Hain, it is official. It is turning to autumn because it's cold as fuck.
Right.
Every morning I'm freezing. My wife and I went to go see Monomarth and Ghost in Syracuse, and I had to go to Target to make an adult purchase of a jacket
Oh,
because it was raining and I was cold.
during the middle of the concert?
No. Before
on your way there.
But I
Smart.
didn't buy toys. I just bought a jacket. I'm an adult.
Fair enough. Oh,
Yeah.
look at you, grown up.
Yeah,
You bought actual clothes.
I actually got myself a nice, sort of like 90s hardcore, like windbreaker, but with like a hood. And that's the only reason I bought it. I'm like, oh, this reminds me of my youth. It's super cool.
Fair
Well,
enough.
dope.
Dude, being an adult. There you go.
I'm glad you were
So it's
warm.
getting cold. The spooky season is around the corner, though. I've been living it for a while, but it's getting spookier by the day. The shit's getting fucking
I do
darker
love
out early.
the coming of autumn.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
little
dude.
bit.
Fucking November's coming fire. Fucking Danzig's just out there doing it in the streets. Fucking making it happen.
Buying
Yeah.
Mountain Dew.
Dance by, you know.
He's buying
Buying
Mountain
yams.
Dew. Dude, I want to see Danzig with yams, Mountain Dew, and kitty litter, but in like Sam Hain and Nishium, where he's just covered in blood with everybody. He's like, I'm here to get kitty litter. And you're like, fuck yeah.
I want him to be like walking around with pumpkin bodyguards.
Yeah.
Like dressed up in those fucking long pumpkins. That would be the fucking best.
I love
That would
those
be
fucking.
brilliant.
I would pay people to just
fucking sweet,
walking next to
dude.
him to come up to him to
Oh,
pumpkin.
man.
Yeah, singing the pumpkins.
Oh shit, that would be fucking killer. So yeah, man, we're super stoked for spooky season around the corner, and unfortunately, school's starting. That sucks, but you know what are you gonna do? It is what it is.
I mean,
So,
we don't have to go. So
yeah,
I know.
that's the plus.
I have kids, and I live it, and they're excited, and I'm nervous.
Oh, let them enjoy it.
I'm not telling them I'm nervous.
No,
I'm
if
like,
you- if
school's
you got
great.
kids that
And
love it-
I'm crying on the inside. My
Man,
baby's
school
grown
has
up.
changed a lot.
I know it's so positive and good.
Nobody
Yeah,
used to
I
like
know,
it.
but I'm just
Yeah,
that
no,
just
no.
sucks. I know.
Oh.
So my baby's grown up. That's it. My son's going to 7th grade. Whole new school. Shit's going on.
Yeah.
There it is, man. There it is. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Oh, we got to end it on an upbeat. We got to bring it up. What do we got?
I don't know. Did you read the obituaries lately?
Dude, Ferdinand
Fucking-
Magellan, dude. Fucking Ferdinand
The
Magellan.
shocker. No one saw it coming.
I think I saw someone post it like on the Discord. I just fucking laughed so hard to myself. It's such a stupid inside joke.
Fucking
It's
Magellan.
great. Oh, shit. There you have it. We'll be talking to you soon.
Goodbyes.
Bye.
Ha!
Okie dokie. With alien abductions, animal mutilations, and anomalous entity attacks on the rise, John Edmonds goes public with his story, incurring the wrath of would-be assassins, the notorious MIB, and violent Greys. But just when things were at their darkest, John would find it within himself to fight back against the malevolent monstrosities arrayed against him in order to save the woman he loves.
That's great. Next time you read it, say Men in Black.
Men in Black?
Yeah. I should have just written it out. My bad. But that was well done.
The last line there where you're like, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's a love story. That's you, right?
That's just me.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Sweet.
It's not even necessarily something I'll say. It just depends.
All right. I wasn't sure if it was on the
Yeah,
deal or
no.
not. Okay, cool.
I mean, you can.
No, I'll leave it for you. You got a much better. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is a love story.
You did it perfectly.
This is a love story.
It's a love story.
Love
My
story.
buddies.
Okay, here we go. I'll pause here.
You might as well take it from the top. I think Chris hit the mic stand anyway. And,
Oh shit. Okay.
You're not going to hear that, but
oh, okay. All
No,
right.
I can always I can cut the other part that I did
Uh-huh.
right into here if
Oh,
if
no
I need to
problem.
I can cut it in. I can start with but. But just when things are at their dark. Okay, here we go.
I thought that you were trying something.
No,
Just when
yeah.
no, I had to.
Yeah.
To make matters worse, while Joyce had sensed a negative presence on the ranch from the moment they set foot on the property and had heard the odd guttural sounds emanating from the house during the aborted exorcism, which again was last episode, she'd not actually seen the would-be alien abductors that John had successfully fended off with an aluminum baseball bat. And in a desperate bid to maintain her own fragile grip on sanity, she talked... Oh, okay. You know what? I feel like I was reading that a little fucked up anyway. Let me just back up a little, but I've got this. I'm feeling good about it. I'm seeing everything clear.
I think you're good with she. It wasn't that bad.
I just didn't like it that much.
Okay.
Chris, would you do me a favor? Would you toss me the fucking chapstick behind your thing? Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Also attack if you want.
Oh, no. Thank you, though.
I was gonna do like a saw thing and be like, one of these is you have to use which we pick. Oh, the tack.
Oh God!
Jesus Christ.
Oh God!
That's funny.
Yeah, that's my new persona. I'm like, yeah, I'm some saw guy now. Just give you a bad choice and a good choice. It's
Oh my God.
your
That's
fate.
funny.
And then you eventually learn a lesson. What lesson we don't know.
I don't know.
I know.
And then one of us
You
become-
live or not.
and then one of us becomes
I
you.
poke my lip or it's soft and supple and I don't click during
Damn
the
that,
pods.
Chris.
Oh,
Damn
bleeding on the mic.
Damn it!
Never
Saw
asking
Chris
him-
is the
yeah.
worst.
Don't ask him for favors.
Saw Chris is the word.
He blows.
Yeah.
Why
Shit.
can't he ever be sick?
Son
I
of
don't
a
like
bitch.
mousetrap, Chris.
Oh,
All right.
All right, let's do
Here we
this.
go. All right.
okay.
Yeah, you can just pick up wherever you want.
Yep.
Whatever sentence beginner you want to do here.